So one of the things we talked about in the cell membrane is the fact that the cell membrane is selectively permeable. Some things can pass through and some things can't pass through. So by the process of simple diffusion, small molecules can pass directly through the cell membrane. This first picture here represents diffusion. Something like oxygen can go from an area of high concentration and pass directly through the membrane to an area of low concentration. So passive transport is always going from high concentration to an area of low concentration. High to low concentration, and one example is diffusion. Another type of diffusion that can happen in the cell is if a particle is too big. If something is too big and can't go directly through those phospholipid heads like they do in diffusion, so during diffusion the particles are going directly through the cell membrane, then you need this type of diffusion, which is facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion will use a protein. And in this type of transport, the molecules are again going to go high to low. So they'll go from this side to this side, but they're going to go through the purple protein because they're too big to go directly through the cell membrane. So that could be something like sugar. So that's called facilitated transport, or sometimes just facilitated diffusion because it's going high to low. And then the third type of passive transport is something called osmosis. And osmosis is talking only about water. So when water passes the cell membrane, we call it osmosis, and water molecules go from areas of high concentration to low concentration, and they use these special channels called aquaporins. Passive transport doesn't require any energy, so it doesn't use any ATP. No ATP is required. So just to review, the three types of passive transport are diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and osmosis. All of these go from high concentration to low concentration, and all of these require no ATP. The other type of transport we talked about was active transport. Active transport does require energy. The type of energy it requires is ATP. And there's three types of active transport. One is endocytosis. And endocytosis is illustrated in this top picture right here. When you have large molecules that want to get into the cell, but they can't get through a protein channel, the cell membrane will form a vesicle and wrap itself around those molecules like they're doing here and here. And then the cell membrane will pinch off and bring the molecules, the green molecules, inside the cell. So endo is in, to bring into the cell, and the opposite process is called exocytosis. So when you have a large molecule that wants to get out of the cell, again, you can make a vesicle from the cell membrane because that's all made of lipids, and that vesicle can fuse with the cell membrane, and then it can deposit this material outside of the cell. You might want to do that if you have a waste product that you don't want inside the cell. You might want to take a vesicle and empty out those contents outside the cell. Lastly, you could have a protein pump, and a protein pump is going to work in the opposite direction. It's going to go against the concentration gradient, so you're going to go from low to high concentration, like we see here, and it is going to use ATP. So that's energy requiring. So protein pumps, it's like swimming upstream, and it's bringing material from low to high concentration. So the three types of active transport are endocytosis, exocytosis, and protein pumps. Hopefully that will help you to review for your cell and to better understand cell transport. Hope that's helpful. Good luck studying for the test.